Guys. Okay, so it's been a little minute since I've made a video. I've been trying to find my niche or my thing for my YouTube videos. Um, I'm gonna give motivational speaking a try. A lot of people that I've told my story to, they've said that my story is pretty inspiring. Um, so I'm gonna give you guys a little backstory. I'm gonna try to cut this video into about 5 minutes. If not, there will be a part 2. So stay tuned. So, a little bit about myself. Grew up in a small town in Florida. I'm one of 6 brothers and sisters. 2 parents. Both my parents worked very hard. Did the best they could. Not to say I didn't give them a run for their money. But we're going to fast forward a few years ahead to 2015. Actually, we'll back that up a little bit. We'll back that up about 4 years to 2012. At the time, I was about 2021. I got married very young. Thought that at the time it's what I wanted. It was. I had met my ex-wife online, and she was from Canada. So we had met, and I fell head over heels for her. I was in love with her. I really was, man. At the time, she was what I wanted. Then, things kind of fell apart with my family. And I moved. I moved all the way from Florida all the way to Canada. Yeah, I know. Big jump. But then I ended up having a kid, which is probably my greatest achievement. Absolutely my greatest achievement. She's amazing. And then fast forward a little bit to 2015. And probably the worst year of my life. Hands down. I still remember it like it was yesterday. I just got up to go to work. At the time, I was working 3 jobs. I was working for 7-Eleven, was a paid-on-call firefighter, and was working for a pizza restaurant as well as at night. So I had just gotten up, gotten ready to go to work, and I get a phone call from my mom. And for some reason, when I woke up that day, something just was off. You know? It was just like something wasn't right. So I was like, okay, it is what it is. Maybe it's whatever. But I ended up getting a phone call from my mom. Mind you, me and my mom hadn't talked in about 3 years at this point. But for some reason, I just picked up the phone. So I picked it up, and immediately she's like, you need to come home. And she's like, your dad's not doing well. Mind you, like, past few years, like, he wasn't doing well, but doctors kept saying he was going to die, but the man was stubborn. My dad was my absolute hero. Like, he was the epitome of everything I strive to be. Like, those are some big shoes to fill. So, she tells me, you need to come home. And this day, just something was different. And I broke down in tears immediately on the phone. And I was like, alright, I'm on my way. So I pretty much pulled together all the money I had saved, all the money I can get my hands on, stuff like that. Got on a plane, got on a red eye, flew all night. I hadn't slept in almost 24 hours. And ended up showing up in Florida at the Orlando airport at about 5 o'clock in the morning. Still hadn't slept. A friend of my mom picks me up. They drive me, they were like, where do you want to go? I was like, I want to go straight to the hospital. So they drive me straight to the hospital, which is about another hour and a half drive. Going back to my hometown, I didn't recognize anything, man. Didn't recognize anything. Everything had changed. Mind you, I hadn't been home in about 5 years. So I get to the hospital, and I see my dad laying there, and he's got tubes and everything. And I grab his foot and shake him because he suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder from Vietnam. And he wakes up, and he starts crying. Mind you, my dad was the toughest person I've ever known. I think I'd seen that man cry probably 5 times in my whole life. And he just starts crying. And he couldn't speak at the time because he had a tube in his mouth. But he's pointing at this pen and piece of paper. And I'm like, no, don't worry about it. Just chill out. Like, I'm here. It's all good. But he's insistent. So I give him the pen. And the first words he writes is, I miss you. And man, that hit like a hammer. Man, I was like, I miss you too, Pop. And after that, he writes, I'm proud of you. And that hit even worse because my dad was not the type to hand those words out very easily. You had to earn them. So the fact that he said, I'm proud of you was like, man, it sent me over the moon. Almost broke down in tears right in front of him. I was like, hey, well, man, I was like, you need to chill out. I was like, you're going to make me cry. So I sat there for a minute. I sat in the room with him. Not long after that, my mom and my siblings showed up. My mom starts crying a little bit, and I give her a hug and see my brothers and stuff like that. Give them a hug. So then afterwards, everybody updates me on what's going on. And I didn't leave the hospital for about 3 days. Slept on the floor, slept in chairs, stuff like that. Finally, my mom's like, well, go to your aunt's house, which was just up the road about 5-10 minutes. But I didn't want to leave. But she's like, yeah, just go home, grab a shower, get sleep in a bed. And if anything happens, we'll give you a call. So I was like, all right. So I grab a shower, sleep, get a hot meal. And I end up coming back. And doctors are like, you got 2 options. You either get Drake or you send him home and let nature take its course.